In today's episode, I take a walk with my 83-year-old mum that shows she's back on the path to dramatically increasing her unsupported walking distance through strength training. Having only been able to walk unaided for 30 seconds just 14 months ago, she's now aiming to be able to walk for at least 15 minutes this year without support. And it's a trip down memory lane too, because we take you back to her youth as a woman who's always been a great beauty, but whose self-image was impacted by the strict religious environment she was part of for many years.
When I was young, I wore a little bit of powder.
Yes.
And my grandmother would come in and look into my face and say, "Go and get that muck off your face."
And that was a bit of powder.
She was horrified.
Today we'll also see my dad starting to reach those big lifting numbers again.
Up it goes! Yes! Well done! How did that last one feel?
And hear his hopes and goals as we move forward.
I'm conscious I'm beginning to test my limits again.
This is Rebuilding Mum and Dad, a series which follows my parents' remarkable progress as they choose to fight frailty and regain muscle through weightlifting in their 80s. I'm Clare Johnston, a journalist exploring how to age well. And if you haven't already, then I invite you to subscribe or follow now to keep up with our journey. So in last month's episode, I talked about how my parents had stepped back in the heaviness of the weights they were lifting to work on form and give them a bit of recovery time during a busy period, and ultimately help them to continue building muscle by gradually working back up again towards increasingly heavier weights. We heard how as we start reaching our genetic lifting potential for our age and physical condition, there's a need to step back from time to time in order to safely take another run at those peaks.
For one reason or another, we step back and we build up again. The goal would be to hit a new peak that's a little higher than the last one.
So if you're new to the series, you'll find previous episodes linked below. And to very quickly recap, in January 2025, my parents and I began weight training using a barbell to reverse muscle loss in order to preserve our mobility, independence, and long-term health as we age. We live in Scotland, but my parents are coached online by Chris Rees, a doctor of physical therapy and head coach with Starting Strength Cincinnati. And I'm happy to say Starting Strength gyms are supporting Rebuilding Mum and Dad as a sponsor of the series, helping us bring you these regular updates. We chose Starting Strength because their approach centres on progressive loading with a barbell, working multiple muscle groups at once, which is one of the most efficient and effective ways to build muscle and increase bone density, as my mum has. Using a barbell and rack plus a mixture of heavier and lighter micro weights meant we could start light and add load very gradually and carefully, sometimes only a kilo or a couple of pounds or even less each week. And this has been key to rebuilding fast and safely. Starting Strength gyms have locations across the US and offer online coaching anywhere in the world. And if you want to get stronger or help your parents get stronger, you'll find a link in the description to information on how to get started. So let's begin with my mum. Over the last 14 months, she's made extraordinary progress, including that nearly 7% increase in spinal bone density, which was revealed in our January episode after she'd had a DEXA scan. And after easing back slightly on the weights over Christmas, she's now working back towards her previous personal best deadlift of 45 kilos. That's 100 pounds.
Yes! Woo!
And this time she looks noticeably stronger while she's lifting these heavier loads because we've been focusing carefully on form. Now, my mum has something called thoracic kyphosis, which means she's bent or stooped forward. And so her focus is on lifting her chest and extending through her upper back as she lifts. And with significant muscle loss in her back, fully straightening at the top of a deadlift definitely remains challenging, but she's getting closer all the time. And if we look at the bench press, She was lifting 25 kilos or 55 pounds before Christmas. She's now nearly there again at 23.5 kilos, and she's doing 3 repetitions at that weight, which shows real strength progression. Her overhead press has climbed to 18.5 kilos, 41 pounds. That's just under her maximum of 19 kilos, and that's all our least popular lift, the overhead press. It's really quite a tricky one. My mum is still squatting with the full 20 kilo or 44 pound weighted vest, and now she's doing 5 sets of 3 repetitions at that weight. So her overall strength and work capacity are clearly improving to be able to do that. And with these extra sets, we really need to focus on her form and making sure she isn't tipping forward onto her toes, making it harder to get back up, but rather being conscious of taking weight into her heels to keep her balance as she squats. And when she gets the form right, as you see here, it makes all the difference. Now, if you've been watching the series and following their journey, you know my mum's big goal is to walk longer distances unsupported. And because of the cold and rain, my mum hadn't been able to get out much over winter, and we were a little concerned that it was going to break the momentum, because before Christmas, she'd worked up to walking 6 minutes upright and unsupported. But we have been back out on the path just very recently, and this time my mum decided to leave the walker behind. It was windy, making the conditions for walking more challenging, but take a look at what happened on what also became a walk down memory lane too, as I asked her about her younger years, and she shared her greatest regret.
Well, we got a nice day for it anyway.
I know.
Yeah, so last time we did this, we got 6 minutes and we had the rolling walker with us, the rollator.
Yeah.
And today we've braved it and thought, right, you'll come out with nothing.
Nothing at all. Unaided.
So I wanted to take you down a trip down memory lane today as well, Mum, because I get asked so much about your beauty secrets and how amazing your skin is for your age. And when I was a little girl, all the older ladies at the nursing home that you had, they would always say to me, your mum's a awfully beautiful lady and you look like your dad.
How cruel.
You grew up in very different times. You had a kind of strict religious upbringing in a little fishing town. Did you get much attention because of the way you looked?
No, it wasn't the done thing.
Not even from the young men of the fishing town?
Oh no. And as for beauty secrets, I'm afraid I've tried many things, as you know.
Yeah.
Many lotions and potions. They just don't work for me. They bring my skin out.
Yes.
So I'm back to the Aveeno,
Yeah.
which works.
Yeah. But I wonder if that's the thing, Mum, if it's just that actually because you followed a very simple skincare routine, but you kept your skin well moisturised.
Even from a young age I did.
You always took your makeup off at night.
Yeah.
So you've at least got to do 8 minutes like this, and we've got to go uphill. Dun, dun, dun.
When I was young, I wore cream
Uh-huh.
and moisturised my face. A little bit of powder. And my grandmother would come in to see us and look into my face and say, go and get that muck off your face.
And that was a bit of powder.
Yeah, she was horrified. And that was the attitude.
Yeah.
I remember going into Jenner's in Edinburgh and a lady seemed to know. She must have looked at my face and thought, oh, this one needs help.
This is the department store for people who don't know Jenner.
And she talked me through moisturising, cleansing, toner.
Yeah.
Were the 3 things. And that's what I've done ever since.
Yeah. This is you at 6.5 minutes, Mum.
Okay.
And you're going uphill. I mean, this is really good stuff here. I know that you're probably feeling it a bit. You're
I'm
struggling
doing
to keep
okay,
your back up.
but I'm not in my best form.
I think the hill is very challenging.
The hill is always challenging.
Yeah. Do you regret not knowing about this earlier, about muscle building?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. If I had known. I mean, I tried so many things.
I know. But look, that's over 8 minutes that you've been walking unassisted now. How do you feel? Are you in pain?
Not really.
Uh-huh.
It's just that my back will not stay up.
You were in a lot of pain at 30 seconds before, you know, so
Yeah.
there's a big shift there
Yeah.
with the no pain.
The muscles must be getting strengthened,
Yes.
wouldn't you think?
Yeah, because you can keep going. That's nearly 10 minutes that you did again.
Now that I've stopped walking, I can get upright.
Yeah.
Shoulders back,
Yeah.
head up.
Again, that's different to before.
It's really so encouraging.
It's exceptional. So I think we keep going like this. I think 15 minutes is really achievable.
Well, depends how far back you want to go. I mean, we had a dodgy start.
With religion and
Yeah.
because I had it too, you know, growing
Yeah,
up
you did.
with a lot of religion. It makes you feel guilty. You're told you're a sinner and you never felt like you're measuring up somehow.
Yeah,
Did you have that?
that was the ethos. Yeah. We were obsessed with what sin and what we were doing wrong.
I know. And what others were doing wrong and all that kind of stuff, such a negative mindset. Whereas you are the thing you've never seen about yourself is you're such a good person. And I know that you won't accept this. You're always like, no. But you always opened your home to people, would give people the shirt off your back, you know, made so many meals for young people in the church. And
I don't see myself as you see me.
No, and others see you. Others, I think people watching these videos have got you.
Really?
They've got you. You know, that's why
Well, that's
it has.
very kind
yeah,
of them.
I think so.
So my mum actually walked for just under 10 minutes there. Remember, it was a little more than a year ago she could only walk for 30 seconds. So she's making great progress towards that goal of walking for up to 15 minutes without an aid. And when she's practicing her walking in the garage before we work out, she notices that she's walking taller and that her hands now are sitting higher as she's more upright. So let's take a look at my dad's progress now, and he's back deadlifting over 90 kilos, that's around 200 pounds, and steadily working towards his previous best of 94 kilos, 207 pounds. And you may remember he stepped back from that weight because his grip was beginning to limit him, and now he's comfortably performing 3 repetitions at 90 kilos, showing he's rebuilding capacity before retesting that 94 kilo mark again. And we're not rushing, we're just steadily building strength and muscle. On the overhead press that we all find so tricky, he reduced the weight significantly after experiencing tightness in his lower back around Christmas time. And he's currently pressing 22.5 kilos, 50 pounds. That's down from 38 kilos, 84 pounds before Christmas. And he's really focusing on form and control before building back up to those heavier weights. Instead of squatting with around 58 kilos, 128 pounds on his back, he's currently doing around 50 kilos, 110 pounds. On the bench press, he is this week returning to his 48 kilo, 105 pound best. And here he is sharing his goals for this year as he aims to keep building strength.
The grand entrance here. Dad, how are you feeling getting back up to the bigger weights now? Are you pleased to be back up?
Oh yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I'd like to get back up there. Yeah.
Do you feel more solid now than you did when you were building up to
Previous time.
in the 90s before? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try. But I'm conscious I'm beginning to test my limits again.
Right. So it's getting tougher.
But I'm still okay.
Yeah.
And I, clearly would like to push up beyond 93.
Do you want to see as a kind of almost like a competitive thing with yourself how much you can lift, or is it purely about functionality to you?
Well, having got to here and with a round number of 100.
Oh, yeah. 100 kilos.
Yeah. Now, whether that is on the multiples, I don't know. Does 3 at 95 the same as lifting 100?
Yeah.
To get that would be at least a short-term thing. then see how we get on with that. Because I feel that if I've got to here, I should be able to get there.
All right, well, we'll go
So
for
I've never
it.
seen myself as a lifter.
No, I know. But here you are, showing the young people how it's done. Well, let's see you do your
See how-
90. I've really set this up.
Cannot fathom how he can live that.
I know. It's wild. This look easy. Great. And then just tighten that back for that last one. Hips high. Up it goes. Yes. Well done. How did that last one feel?
Well, I did. It is a limit right now, but what I was pleased with, my grip was fairly good,
Yeah.
which was an issue the last time.
And 3 reps at that weight is a lot. I mean, it's 3, you know? Good
It
going.
was only in the last one it began to slip a little bit.
Yeah. What do you make of it, Mum?
Oh, I'm just full of admiration. I like to think that I'm building strength and, you know,
Yeah,
so I don't mind doing the heavy weights.
I know.
But it's not easy. I don't find it easy,
No, but it's rewarding when you do it.
but it's very rewarding.
Well, 45 next week. Woohoo.
We shall see.
For Dad, pushing these personal bests is about continuing to build confidence as well as muscle through added mechanical load. That's because progressively increasing load is the most efficient way to build muscle and even bone. And if you'd like to understand more about how load influences muscle and what happens inside the muscle fibers themselves, I've got an interview coming up in the next few weeks with the brilliant physiologist Dr. Stacey Sims, so look out for that one. Ultimately, the more muscle mass my parents can build and preserve, the greater the protective effect on bone density, mobility, metabolic health, and cardiovascular risk, even brain health. Muscle isn't just about strength, it's metabolically active tissue that influences whole body health. On the flip side, low muscle mass and strength are consistently associated with higher risk of disease, functional decline, and earlier death. And that is why protecting and rebuilding muscle across our lifespan is so important. So, as I said, I'm going to link to the full series playlist below, along with some episodes answering key questions about how to build strength and how to get started at home, even with minimal equipment, because there's always a way. We'll continue sharing this journey with you, and if you know someone who could benefit from rebuilding strength, please do share this series with them. To make sure you never miss an episode, you can sign up to my free newsletter below, and I'll send updates directly to your inbox each month. And if you'd like to see behind the scenes content and vlogs from me, you'll also find a link below to join the channel as a member. Because as this journey keeps showing us, it's never too late to rebuild strength, reclaim function, and change the way we age.